Hello again, everyone. Andy here, looking at the markets, and I'm looking at the major currencies here, talking about the dollar index futures as we look at the other currencies compared, looking at the majors. You can see here on the far left, you got the dollar index futures on a 4-hour chart, and what I'm doing is illustrating this week's price action. So as you can see here, you have this gray area that shows last week's trading range, and you can see here last week's low at the bottom here. You got last week's low, and then you have last week's high, right? And basically what I've done is I've illustrated for myself for visual purposes here to see where I am in relation to that trading range. As you can see over here on the right, you got the yen, the Swiss franc, and the Canadian dollar all on the 4-hour charts here, same time frame as the dollar index futures. As you can see here, the yen, Swissy, the Canadian across the top, the euro, the pound, and the Australian dollar across the bottom. And the reason why they're set up like this is because typically what I look for is if the dollar here, you can see here the dollar is going up. I want to see the yen go up, the Swiss franc go up, and the Canadian dollar go up. And that typically works out. We'll take a look at the Japanese yen because it hasn't been doing that for some time, but that's just those are the major components of the dollar index futures. And as the dollar is going up, I look for the euro to go down, the pound to go down, and the Australian dollar here to go down as well. So it helps a little bit with your confirmation, knowing which direction the markets are going. So you can see here that the dollar index futures basically opened right around last week's trading range here, right around last week's low, and then tried to take out last week's low, which is important here. This is the reason why I'm watching this, because these are breakout points, and once you break beyond these levels, the market has a tendency to continue in those directions. But as you can see in this particular situation, the dollar index failed at point 1 here, this breakout point, and then failed again at point 2, the breakout point, the attempt to go below last week's low here at point 2. And once that failed, you can see here that we broke above the intermediate high here, and that brought in your buying opportunity as the market rallied back into last week's trading range. So finishing up somewhere around 80.14, you can see topping out right around 80.30 or so. But most importantly, the main thing here is that the dollar index futures was not able to continue to the downside as it had pushed lower last week. So despite the move last week in the dollar index futures, you can see that the market was unable or unwilling to take the market lower here in the dollar index futures, more of a resting week, if you will. But in any case, you can see that the dollar index futures was in a retracement mode from last week's low. Now the idea here is that what we're looking for is to see if the euro goes in the opposite direction, and sure enough, that was the case. You can see here that the euro tried to break out of last week's high, break above last week's high a couple of times, but failed ultimately, was not able to close above last week's high. So we did close below last week's high here at 133.14, but we did get up as high as 134.03. You can see a really tight range here in the euro, which made it a tough week to trade. So if you're trading the euro this week, you might have had a tough time at it, and that's why it's important to be looking at the dollar index and the other major currencies, because you can see while the dollar index was retracing and the euro was basically going flat, your opportunity was in the pound. You can see that we broke down below last week's low, and we did continue to the downside, breaking below 160 and finishing around 158.60, while the Australian dollar basically stayed constrained inside of last week's trading range. This is important because similar to what you were looking at in the dollar index futures, the Australian dollar was having a tough go at making a move in one direction over the other. As you can see here, just a choppy trading range over the course of the week here, and did try to break down towards the back end of the week, but was unable to move outside of last week's trading range. Japanese yen here, of course, breaking out again, and this time the initial breakouts at the beginning of the week were not successful, but the one towards the back end of the week was, and this was your opportunity. If you failed to break here and you failed to break here, then perhaps you may have made back your losses on this breakout right here. But ultimately, it looks like at the beginning of the week we tried to go into retracement mode. Sure enough, found support right around 88 even. Then it just helped propel the yen back up to the 90 even level. Very important here, breaking the 90 even level. We'll have to pay attention next week and going further to see if this is going to continue higher or if we're going to finally get some sort of a retracement in this parabolic move. At the same time, you got the Swiss franc here breaking above last week's high as well. You have one breakout here, and then you have a 2 retest, and then this market goes in your direction, pushing almost as high as 94, but settling right around 93.40, but above last week's high. This is important too, wondering if the dollar index is going to follow next week, and if we're going to get some more follow through back to the upside in the Swissy. It's very interesting here going on. And the Canadian dollar here, finding some buyers towards the back end of the week as well, breaking above. Nice clean break here, not allowing probably a lot of people to get in on the move. And pushing above 99.40, settling right around 99.14 as you can see here, but pretty much choppy throughout the week until breaking out here on Friday, which kind of lines up with the dollar index a little bit better than the Swiss franc here for that matter. But for the most part, the way you're looking at it here is a little bit of a choppy week that just passed. Going into next week, it'll be interesting to see if we start to see the euro push back, challenging that 3,400 level towards the upside, or if we're going to try to push back below 132 even, and then try to push on to 130. In the dollar index, looking to see if we hold long-term support, and if that happens, then this is definitely going to drag down the euro. So that's all I got for this market wrap, folks. It's Andy signing off. Hope it helps. Good luck in your trading. Stay safe out there. Best regards to all. We'll see you at the next market wrap. While I got you here, I wanted to take a quick moment to say that if you really liked what you're looking at here in the free Forex market wrap video, I wanted to give you the opportunity to come take a look at the premium weekly Forex market wrap video that I do every week. And basically it's a little bit more in depth, or should I say a lot more in depth information about the markets that I cover. And you can see here that in this short video I go over the basics about what I've been looking at on the major currencies. In the more in-depth market wrap video, I take a look at a in-depth analysis on the 6 major currency pairs. You also get actionable trading scenarios. The important thing here is that we're offering a 3-day risk-free trial, so you don't have to pay a cent. It's about a 30 to 45 minute video that'll go through all the major currency pairs that I look at, and it shows you a lot more in-depth analysis and forecast, looking at the longer term picture and the big major trends that are affecting what you're looking at on the lower time frames that you're looking at on a day-to-day basis. So take a moment to go take a look at the premium market wrap video. You can see the link here provided, www.traderstouch.com/3day, and it also includes a free membership to the Traders Learning Network, where you can meet other traders that are like-minded individuals, and they're basically there to help everybody looking at the same markets as you. So good luck, hope it helps, and look forward to seeing you on the inside.